I remember talking to a work colleague once. It was the beginning of the holidays, and she said, "I live for this time of the year." I get it. Holidays are great, but at the same time, there may be a better way to look at our work life, rather than living each day waiting for the moment when we're not working. There's more to work than seeing it as a curse, or just something you have to do to pay the bills. God, in fact, presents work as a calling. We're placed on the earth to fulfill a holy commissioning. In the creation account of Genesis, it says that we are to fill the earth and subdue it. We are given a stewarding role by God over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air. This means that work existed long before sin came into the picture. It's only when sin enters the scene that work becomes painful and difficult. Work itself is actually part of what it means to be made in God's image. Genesis says that God worked in creation and then handed the reins over to us. We are God's ambassadors, looking after the planet on His behalf. Work was never designed to be a curse. It was designed to bring a sense of purpose and fulfillment. That's why it can be so painful when we don't work. You'll know this if you've ever been long-term unemployed. In fact, a friend of mine was in exactly that situation. He was well qualified, competent, but he just couldn't find the work no matter how he tried. He ended up being unemployed for an entire year, and it put an incredible strain on him and his family. Not only did it deplete their finances, but it took a terrible toll on him personally. He lost confidence, peace of mind, joy, and a sense of fulfillment. In fact, study after study has shown that people who retire early may die sooner. A researcher from a 2016 study from the Oregon State University said that while it doesn't necessarily apply to everyone, work brings people a lot of economic and social benefits that could impact the length of their lives. Early retirement may well be the kiss of death. It makes sense, doesn't it? We were born with God-given purpose, and this applies to everyone, no matter how much we earn. All this encourages us to orient ourselves to our work differently. Yes, work does pay the bills, and it can be difficult, but there's also a way to see that work honours God. In this thinking, God becomes our source, the one who provides, whether through a regular pay packet or in some other way. Jesus said in Matthew 6:33 that we should seek first God's kingdom and His righteousness. Then all the other things, food, shelter, clothing, bills, will be provided as well. This understanding also obliterates the idea that there's a difference between working for God and working for people. That is, say I volunteer at church on Sunday compared to when I work on Monday. In both cases, I'm still serving God. I remember when I first gave up my sports teaching job to go to a Bible college and become a pastor. A colleague said to me at the time, "It's so great that you're now going to be serving God full time." I know what he meant, but his words didn't seem quite right. The truth was that I was serving God full time when I taught my students how to swim backstroke and how to kick a ball. I was seeking God's kingdom every time I stepped out onto a sporting field. I was doing my part in God's commission to steward the earth and look after it. This is great news, especially when our salaries rise and fall, or we face changes in our employment. God forever remains our source. When we're thinking about our work, we should seek God about His purpose in it. Lord, how can I serve you in my work? How can I play my part as your steward on the earth? As we seek God's kingdom first in everything we do, we can also trust Him to be the provider of those other needs as well. Thanks for tuning in today to Everyday God Conversations. For more on having your own God conversation about work and other areas of life, go to godconversations.com.